I would now like to invite Sadhguru and the UNESCO Artist for Peace, Ms. Gila Clara Jesus, to take the stage. Sadhguru will now address all of us to share his wisdom. After that, Sadhguru and UNESCO Artists for Peace will have a short conversation. Sadhguru will then lead us in a guided meditation for some 15 minutes. This event will end with a question and answer session where audience members may ask Sadhguru and Ms. Gila Clara Jesus about their work. It is our great pleasure to now welcome Sadhguru. The floor is yours.
Jananam sukadham maranam karunam milanam maduram smaranam karunam Kalavashadiha Sakalam Karunam Samayadipate Akilam Karunam. Namaskaram. This 9th International Day of Yoga, which is a very wise acknowledgement of our science, our practice, our culture, which is over 15 millennia old, probably the only human activity beyond things that we do for survival to last for 15,000 years. So what is yoga? My congratulations and gratitude for all the people who work in UNESCO, ma'am, and yourself, Vishal, and every one of you. What is yoga? Essentially, yoga is a profound insight into human mechanism. This many-layered complexity that we call as a human being, this evolutionary sophistication which has been achieved over millions of years, and all the possibilities of what it can be. To know, to understand the innards of how we are made, how to explore within ourselves, without belief, without philosophies, without ideologies, without authority speaking to us, how to realize the nature of our origins and the ultimate possibility of who we are. This is yoga. So this science, as things roll, time rolls, obviously picks up various cultural aspects related to the land of its origin. It's a great pride for all of us that yoga originated in India. Yoga originated in a land that was referred to as Bharat. But everybody must understand, I know some people will disagree with very strong national feelings, but yoga belongs to humanity. Because anything that we discover cannot belong to any group of people. What we invent can belong to people. What we make up can belong to a certain group of people. What we discover as a reality cannot belong to me or you. It is the right of every human being to find a way for their own fulfillment. Generally, through the ages, we've been trying to address human well-being, human struggles, and human longing to expand and become better, which is always at work. Through belief systems, through ideologies, through philosophies, by doing freaky things and crazy things, and chemicals like alcohol, drugs, some prescribed, some in the back street. But essentially, all these are efforts to find solutions for human fulfillment. That a human being not only wants to be healthy and well, a human being constantly longing to expand. When I say longing to expand, it doesn't matter who you are right now. You want to be something more, there's no question about that. If that something more happens today, in 3 days you will want to be something more. You will see, even if you become the king or queen of this planet, there's no such possibility, but I'm just saying, even if you become the queen or king of this planet, you will look at the moon, you will look at the planetary system, you look at the galaxies. If I make you the king of one galaxy, you will look at the other galaxies, because there is something within you which is longing to become limitless. Something within you which always wants to expand beyond its boundaries. But our survival instincts are always trying to draw boundaries, because survival depends on boundaries. This instinct comes to us through our evolutionary development. And we are trying to draw boundaries on one level. When we successfully draw a boundary, we feel suffocated, and then we want to expand the boundary. This is the human struggle. What yoga brings into one's life is this, that it clearly, experientially defines to you which aspect of you needs boundaries, which aspect of you does not need boundaries, which aspect of you wants to be contained, which aspect of you wants to expand limitlessly, not as a philosophy, not as a teaching, not as some authority speaking, but from your own inner experience. The mechanics of this, the technologies of this is what is referred to yoga. Unfortunately, a very dumbed-down version of yoga came to the West, nothing wrong with it, it's a good beginning, that if you're doing yoga, you must look like a leftover noodle. That is being yoga. Not necessary, you don't have to twist or turn anything, but keeping everything in you flexible is an important part of expansion. If this is not flexible, you have become a concrete block. So, let's say your mind, your head becomes like a concrete block, well, it's good for headbutting, but it doesn't work for what it is supposed to be. This is like, you have your laptop, you have your phone in your hand, you can use this to crack somebody's head. Actually, phone works. Hello, yes? You can use this to smash it on somebody's head and crack their head. But that is not the purpose for which it was made. Similarly, that is not the purpose for which this was made. If we do not realize the possibilities, if we do not realize the many possibilities of what a human being can be, do you consider that a loss? Yes. Or only if you lose something, it's a loss? Most people think only if I lose what I have, it's a loss. Loss of possibility is the worst loss. Hello? Not realizing the possibility is the biggest loss because everything has been lost without you knowing you lost it. So, this is what yoga brings to your life, not by morals, not by ethics, not by philosophies, but by inner experience. What do I mean by inner experience? The word yoga, as you already know, means union. What is the union? You know, when we launched the project Green Hands about 27 or 28 years ago, I just looked at the terrain around me and the national average for green cover was about 33%, but the state in which I was, it was only 16.5%. So I got a few people, about 4,000 to 5,000 people, and told them that we have to plant 114 million trees in the next 8 to 10 years. Then in 15 to 20 years, we will have 33% green cover. My simple barefoot calculation of the land that we have and the number of trees we need to plant. Everybody rolled their eyeballs. Sadhguru, how is 114 million trees possible? I said, see, the population of the state is 62 million. If all of us plant one tree today, take care of it for 2 years and plant one more, you got the number. The only problem with us is, all of us consume everything. When it comes to compensatory activity, we always think somebody else should do it. Of course, UN can do it. Hello? You, whether it's UN or UZ, it doesn't matter. Something you do it, not me. So, to inspire these people, I saw they don't connect with this. They don't think, what's our business with trees? What is our business with trees? I'm a computer engineer, I'm a software engineer, I'm this, I'm that, I'm a doctor, why should I plant trees? I'm a farmer, why should I plant trees like this? Then I made them sit down and started a spiritual process. We must understand spirituality does not mean looking up or looking down. Because when we say spirit, we are talking about the life within you. Hello? There is a body. Body we gathered slowly over a period of time. To gather all this, there was something more fundamental. I won't call it by any other name, I'll just call it as you. You existed before the body became this size and shape, yes or no? Hello? Before you acquired a body of this… No, I'm not complaining about the size, I'm just saying, you can talk to me, hello? When I say size, don't think I'm accusing you of something. Before your body became this size and shape, you still existed, isn't it so? When you were 8, 10 years of age, you still existed. So, you are there in this body, whatever that you is. Let's not try to define that because then you'll get into unnecessary debates. But you do exist. That essential you, beyond what you have gathered in the form of body and what you have gathered in the form of impressions, which you call as your mind, you did exist before you know what you know today. Before you got your master's degree or PhD, you did exist. Before your body grew to this size, you did exist. So, that you we are referring to, generally, traditionally, spirit. I normally refuse to use that word because that word has been so badly corrupted and misused in so many ways. Essentially, this is what it means. Yoga means gives you a clear distinction between what you have acquired and what is you. What is your body, what is the framework of your mind and who you are. Once, if you stand here or if you sit there, if you have a clear distinction between your body, your mind and yourself, all your troubles are over. Because there are only two kinds of sufferings in human life, physical suffering, mental suffering. Do you know any other kind of suffering? Hello? Do you know any other kind of suffering? In UNESCO, I'm asking. Because Vishal was complaining. So, these are the only two things. If you create a little space between yourself and your body, between yourself and your mind, this is the end of suffering. What this means is, you come to a place where there is no fear of suffering anymore, because whatever happens with you and your life, you will not suffer. If you had this assurance, would you explore your life with much more vigor, with much more possibilities? Yes or no? You definitely would. Right now, it's the fear of suffering. What will happen to me? If this doesn't work, what will happen to me? If that works, what will happen to me? Somebody turns against me, what will happen to me? Nothing will happen. Only thing will happen is, as we sit here, time is rolling away. We are rapidly moving towards our graves because we have come with a limited amount of time. So, there are only two ingredients for you. One is time, which you have no control. You can't slow it down, you can't roll it back, there is no rewind anywhere. Do you have a watch with a rewind button? No. Okay, that's good. So, the next is the life energies that you have. You can manage this. You cannot manage time because it rolls away for all of us, it's very fair. For every one of us, it rolls at the same speed. But depending upon how intense and dynamic and exuberant you keep your energies, time plays out differently for different people. If your energies are at a certain level of exuberance, what somebody does in 10 hours, if you can do it in 1 hour, then if you live for 100 years and that person lives for 100 years, you lived for 1,000 years. In terms of a human experience, it multiplies. But at the same time, let me tell you the downside of it. Have you noticed on a certain day, when you're very happy, has it happened to you? Hello? Yes. On a certain day, you are very, very happy about whatever. On that day, 24 hours, poof, went away like that, like a moment. Another day, you're little depressed. On that day, 24 hours feels like 10,000 years. Yes or no? So time is a very relative experience. So only miserable people can have a long life. If you're joyful, 100 years, boof, it'll be gone. So this is the process of yoga where you keep your energies at a certain level of exuberance. If this life is exuberant, then everything else falls into place, your health, well-being, your ability to do things in the world, your survival process, everything. Above all, there is no fear of suffering. That is the most important thing. So, there are many, many ways to define and describe yoga, but essentially it's about union. When I say union, as I was telling you about this project Green Hands, when I said this many trees, they said, this is impossible. Then I made them sit down and breathe. No, they were all breathing even before, but it's not so important, so they didn't notice it. Hello? Is breath very important? But you're not noticing it, you're not doing it consciously. So when I made them breathe in a certain way and made them experience, see what you're exhaling, the trees are inhaling. What the trees are exhaling, you're inhaling. They start like this. Now you can't stop them from planting trees. Now I raise the I raise the target to I raised the target to 2.42 billion in the Kaveri basin. Now they're working hard to make it happen, Every year, this year they're planting about 24 million trees because this is all going into farmland where it will survive. Our survival rate is over 93% because replacements are happening immediately in case it goes away. It is not being planted on public land, it is going into private land where these trees will grow as wealth for the farmer. So, the fundamental thing is this: as you breathe, one half of your lungs is hanging out there. Suppose you saw half of your lungs hanging out there, do I have to tell you, please don't cut the tree? Hello? Do you need teaching, I'm asking? No. Anything that you see as a part of myself, with that there is no conflict. This is not just about respiration. Every cell in your body, every subatomic particle in your body is constantly in communication with the entire cosmos. If you sit here and you can experience everything as yourself, the whole universe as yourself, then we say you're in yoga. Not because you twisted yourself, you're in yoga. You sit here, you have consciously obliterated the boundaries of your individuality. You're trying to do it in so many ways. If you do it in a basic physical way, this is called a sexuality. What is not you, you're trying to make it a part of yourself. Well, it looks like it works for a few moments, after that you know. If you attempt it emotionally, this is called a love affair, love. There are moments when you feel two people are one, but then you know. If you attempt mentally, this is called as ambition, conquest, desire, or simply shopping. If you approach it consciously, this is called yoga. This is yoga. This must happen to the world because as human beings, we are empowered like never before. No human generation ever in the history of humanity was as empowered as we are, both in terms of creating positive possibilities and destructive possibilities. We are far more empowered than any generation ever. When this kind of empowerment has come to us, it becomes extremely, extremely important that our thought, our emotion, our action is all a conscious process. If it happens instinctively, it happens compulsively, we are asking for a disaster. And we have been unfolding disasters after disaster. We can call it war, we can call it climate, we can call it this and that, but we are unfolding more and more disasters because we are… with this level of intelligence, with this level of competence, this level of empowerment, we're still functioning in an instinctive, compulsive manner. This is what the purpose of yoga is, so that human activity, both internal and external, becomes a conscious process. Let's make a conscious planet happen, let's make it happen.
Thank you so much.
Don't ask any difficult questions.
I promise. What a privilege for me to have this discussion with you and try to go really a little bit further regarding the mentions you just did with yoga. My first question will be dealing with the definition of yoga itself. You said that yoga is all about ourself in terms of self-knowledge, in terms of identity. But what would you say to a child who would like to know what is yoga in order to prepare this child to also have the willingness to physically and consciously being a little bit bothered? And I'm saying that for children, but we know that we all have this relationship to yoga, the way to accept that yoga is also a question of physical, of body. So how would you define yoga in a very simple manner to a child?
I think My own story of how I got into yoga would settle that. You okay for a story?
Of course.
So I'm just about 11 years of age and every summer we go for a vacation in my, traditional home of my grandfather, which is a large home, and we are about 36 cousin brothers and sisters. We all gather from various towns only during that time for about 30 to 40 days. So it's one rollicking situation, everybody's out of control. So for the young boys, one of the sport is, there's a well in the backyard, which is just about 8 feet in width and 150 feet in depth. Summers, mostly it is about 60, 70 feet down, the water. One of the sport is to jump into the well. You must jump straight down, otherwise your brains will become a smear on the wall. And for coming up, there is no any footholds or ladder or anything, just holding the rocks you have to come out. So literally your entire weight is on a few centimeters of your tips of your fingers and you'll be bleeding when you come up. The nails will be bleeding because of the pressure. So we like to do it, I'm pretty good at it. One day we are all preparing to do this. A man, an old man, I refuse to call him old anymore considering my own age at that time, a very old man, over 73 years of age, was standing and just watching us quietly. Then without a word, he just came, jumped into the well. I thought he's finished. But he came up faster than me. I didn't like it. I asked how. He said, come and do yoga. Like a puppy, I followed him. I did not know anything else about it. So he taught me some very simple physical aspects of yoga, nothing much, very simple, but a powerful transmission. This is what is missing in the world today. It's being taught like it is some exercise. Yoga cannot be taught, yoga needs to be transmitted. Somebody should live it. So it was transmitted to me in a certain way, just a simple practice evolved into something fantastic in the next 12 to 13, 15 years' time. But at that time, I had no clue what I'm getting into. And within a few years, significant results in terms of my physical prowess and my intellectual capabilities, that was good enough for me, I was not looking for anything else. But this was a surprise bonus that other things happened. So for a child, we just say, this is a powerful way of empowering yourself to whatever you wish to do in your life, whatever. Because yoga does not define what you should do. Do whatever the hell you want to do it well.
Beautiful, so this notion of empowerment is very important in yoga. My second question will be linked to what you said about unity, that is really a core of yoga. You mentioned that our way to be better connected is trying to unite spiritual and material, trying also to unite our own self to the other. Can you tell us concretely, and we can feel it here, in this room, we can feel an amazing unity thanks to your magical presence. How can yoga could help us to be more connected?
See, when you say connected, that means essentially we are separate, we can hold hands. When you say unity, also means the same thing. We are different people, we can be united. No, that's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about union. Union is different from unity. What union means is, as I said, when you breathe, it's not about you caring for the tree, it's a part of you. Today, modern science has brought this in different languages, so let me speak that language. Today they're telling you over 60% of your body are microbial life. So you have more microbes than your parentage within you. So it's not that you have to connect with them, you're happening because of everything else. Because of every other life happening the way it is happening, you're also happening. So you are not an independent entity in any sense. This very body that you carry is part of the soil that you walk upon, but we are far away from it. So you don't have to unite with the soil, you don't have to connect with the soil. Anyway you're connected. But you can realize it either now or when they bury us. This choice we have, when this realization come to us. So we are not talking about unity, we are not talking about, okay, all of us should be together. No, whether we like it or not, we are happening here as one big phenomena of life. If we realize that, if we experience that, not intellectual realization, if you experience this, if you experience everybody in this hall as a part of yourself, like you're experiencing the 5 fingers of your hand as yourself, if you experience all these people as yourself, after that, you don't need any teaching of thou shalt not do this or that. Hello? You would not need any teaching. These teachings are efforts to connect people, to unite people, but there is still no inner experience. With all the teachings, see what we are doing. Hello? With all the teachings, see what we are doing in the world. Simply because there is no inner experience and there is no substitute for inner experience. Any amount of teaching, any amount of philosophy, any amount of ideologies, when your life is threatened, all those things will fall off. The only thing that stands with you is what is the nature of your experience at that moment. So, yoga is not about unity or connecting with people, it is realizing the nature of existence. The nature of existence is already in union. Nothing here happens independently, everything is connected. Today we think, if I say soil, people say, Sadhguru, where did you study ecology? Say, I've been crawling on this planet for last 65 years and I know what the hell happens here. I'm like a worm. I'm not an ecologist, I'm not a scientist, I'm a worm who crawled for 6.5 decades on this planet. What happens to the soil is happening to me, I can clearly see this. It's happening to everybody, but they don't see it. They're waiting for something bigger to happen to them.
So yoga is really making us realizing the interconnection, the interdependency of each, is that correct?
The oneness of everything. See, I'm refusing to use the word connect, because if we connect, you and me are separate, and we connect. Say, I will die many years ahead of you, you will die at the age of 100 or more, but let's say they chose to bury you next to me. Doesn't matter what's your gender, doesn't matter what's your nationality, race or religion. Will you merge with that soil as I merged, or will you not? Or will you stick out? I'm asking. You will merge, right? Now what is the problem, I'm asking? Now what is the problem? Even now we can Is death the only way we learn? That's all I'm asking. We should learn in life, not in death.
I would like to go a little bit further regarding this title, conscious planets. You're saying that yoga is also allowing us to be more conscious, especially when it comes to resolve some challenges. So, in which way yoga can help us being more conscious?
See, the word conscious or consciousness is a very hugely misused word. Everybody is using it in their own ways. For this, there is a very appropriate word in Sanskrit language. In English language, it's a kind of a general word. We call this chitta. What chitta means is, it is an intelligence within you which doesn't have an iota of memory. Right now your body, every cell in the body has intelligence, but this is all by memory. When I say by memory, do you remember how your great-great-great-grandmother 10 generations ago, what she looked like? You? No. But her nose is sitting on your face because your body remembers. Million years ago, how your forefathers were, the skin tone, it still remembers. Yes or no? It does remember. So this body is a body of memory. There is an intelligence within you which doesn't have any memory, it's pure intelligence. This is the core of your existence. This is what is making everything happen. Right now, everybody breathing?
Better
No,
be.
that's a good admission. So, you're not doing your breath, it's happening. You're not beating your heart, it's happening. You're not working your liver, it's working. You're not doing your kidney or spleen or something, it's all happening. So I'm saying there is an intelligence beyond your silly intellect. I'm very consciously calling it silly because we'll come to that if we have the time. Well beyond your silly intellect of thoughts and emotions, there is an intelligence which is managing you. Suppose for one day, for every one of you, let's say we decided, breath will be left in your hands, you can run it the way you want. If you got little angry, you'll forget to breathe, like this guy. If something else you desire, you'll forget to breathe, all right? Fortunately, it's not in your hands, it's all running by itself because there is an intelligence beyond your own intellect and what you understand as my intelligence, beyond that, this is working. We don't pay attention to it, we just make conclusions, oh, God is running it, finished, it's over. Do not jump into conclusions, just pay attention. How is your breath happening? How is your heart beating? What's happening here? How is this alive? Without me doing anything, it's still alive, isn't it? How is it? Such a complex machine, who the hell is running it? If you pay attention, you will get to this intelligence which is beyond memory. It doesn't exist or thrive on memory. What exists on memory is a possibility, at the same time it's a huge limitation. See, right now, what makes you one kind of person? Your memory, isn't it? What makes somebody else another kind of person? Their memory. What makes somebody a this nationality or that nationality? Their memory. You erase their memory, do they know which nation they belong to? They'll belong to UNESCO. So, what happens by memory is significant for our survival because memory is an accumulation of experience. But there is an intelligence beyond memory which we refer to as chitta, which is consciousness. To awaken this intelligence, to find access to this intelligence is the fundamental purpose of yoga.
Thank you very much. I'd like to come back also to the importance of the international recognition of yoga. As you know, the practice of yoga has been inscribed in the list of intangible cultural heritage since 2016 under UNESCO 203 Convention for the safeguarding of the intangible cultural heritage.
I'd like to change that a little bit, I'm just saying on the lighter vein, it's a very tangible heritage.
That's
very
a tangible heritage. That's true. So name of the convention maybe should be renamed. So it's going to be a very important year because we are coming to the 20th year of this convention. And I would like to know, dear Sadhguru, if you had any message you would like to give to those who are fighting to advocate the importance of yoga as living heritage of humanity.
One important thing is, most important thing in the world is, yoga should not… people must understand it's not just some simplistic exercise that you can do. If all you're looking for a little bit of physical fitness, just go swim somewhere, you have a river, you swim upstream, you will become fit. Or you go play tennis, you do something, I'm saying. It's not just about fitness. Yes, fitness is one of the consequences. The importance of yoga is to explore the limits of your individual nature, where the boundaries are, how you can obliterate it. You don't have to hold that intent. The process will just do that. As I said, when I started, all I wanted was, I wanted to become as strong as that old man. That is the only goal. I had no other goal. I didn't want to meditate, I didn't want to go anywhere, I didn't want anything bigger than that. That was the goal. It doesn't matter. This is the beauty of living in this world. If you do the right things, even for the wrong reasons, it'll work.
A beautiful teaching. Beautiful teaching. So, any particular message you would like to give to those people? We understand that yoga, of course, is not only a question of physical exercise, or it goes deeper. So
It can start with a simple physical process because that's the easiest access. Front end of our life is definitely our bodies. So you can start with the body, nothing wrong with that. But an understanding that you're not starting just a simplistic exercise process, because essentially what we are trying to create is coherence. When I say coherence, well, we were talking about it, you and the tree breathing, it's all one, you and the universe is all one, every subatomic particle today modern science is saying is all connected and transmitting. That means the whole creation is in coherence. But you're not experiencing that coherence. Recently, the Surgeon General of United States said, 1 in every 2 Americans, 1 in every 2 is feeling lonely. Between you and me, one of us is lonely. What's happening to the other person? So you're wearing your heart out. So just look at this, 1 in 2 is feeling lonely in the most affluent nation. When our population is bursting at 8.4 billion, we're feeling lonely. What is it? That is, we are building walls of individuality. Walls that you yourself cannot break. You build a wall that you yourself cannot break because these walls are built as self-protection. The walls of self-protection that you build today, tomorrow will turn into walls of self-imprisonment. That's all that's happening to the world. Everywhere it's happening. United States happens little more dramatically because they're little ahead of everybody else in a few things. So, just imagine in a country, every second American, if they're feeling lonely, loneliness is the first step towards mental illness. You've taken one step, next will come. So, yoga means you're not lonely anymore because only you exist in the universe. Everything is you. Wherever you see, it's just you. So when you see too much of yourself, you'll close your eyes and sit.
I will finish with one question regarding nature and the importance that it has. So how do we feel we can connect with nature through living heritage such as yoga or meditation? And since we saw that the 21st of June is also a very symbolic date linked to nature, could you tell us why we will be also connected with nature when we will do this meditation?
One part of the question is, why is it 21st June? As already Vishal was saying, this is the solstice. What solstice means is, in earth spin, it's a little bit of a tilt. In that process, how much exposure northern hemisphere is getting towards the sun, reaching its peak today, from now on it'll start receding. Because sun's relationship with the planet begins to shift on this day. When such a major happening happens, we, who are just a product of this earth, just the soil is sitting here as my body and your body. Things happen within our system too. Today, unfortunately, we have come to number systems, 30, 31 days is a month and this and that. We have forgotten when is it full moon, when is it new moon, when is it solstice, what is happening, when is a different shifts that are happening in the planet, completely unaware. For that there is a price. Every other life is aware of this. The smallest creatures are aware of this. You must see, just go sit in a forest and watch how the ants behave on a full moon night. They're very different on that day. On new moon day, they behave differently. If you pay attention, every life, plant life especially knows this very well in Ayurveda. There's a whole thing of if you pluck a leaf on which day of the month, how it behaves in your body. But human beings, the most intelligent, have no clue about this. This just gets demonstrated in stark ways. When the tsunami struck southern India, we were the first to be there because we had 23 medical vans. Immediately I said, everybody drive there. And I also went. When we went there, one aspect of it is, there are so many dead bodies, people, all volunteers trying to help with all this shifting and doing things and giving vaccinations to people and all this. What I noticed was, none of the livestock was dead, except those who were tied down in the homes. No dead fish or 100-foot wave. Millions of fish should be dead. No fish dead. No animals dead, not even a donkey dead. But human beings died. Everybody knew the wave is coming. The most intelligent species on the planet had no clue. Something is missing in our lives. What is missing is, we have no attention for anything. Because right from the day you went to school, where did you go to school? Here, in France?
Yes.
Okay. The day you went to kindergarten school, from that day, they only started rewarding your memory. If you read a textbook, that silly textbook, you read it and puke it on the examination paper, they'll say you're very smart. Nobody gave you any marks for your attention. I simply paid attention to the teacher, I knew their past, present and future, but they didn't give me any marks for that. The moment you value memory and not human attention, you close doors upon yourself. You're in an old soup, cooking yourself up with old soup, endlessly going on, the same old soup. So this is the issue, this is the fundamental issue, that on a summer solstice, there are significant changes happening to the world, to the planet, especially northern hemisphere. In the winter solstice, because we are majority in northern hemisphere, we are calling it that way. Southern hemisphere will call that as summer solstice, of course. Changes are happening there much more. So on this day, shift happens. Every yogi looks inward and makes the necessary little tuning, adjustment within himself or herself, because otherwise you will be misaligned with the world around you. There is a certain amount of data, not proper data, but there is a certain amount of data which shows during summer solstice, people become unnecessarily exuberant, during winter solstice, they become unnecessarily depressed. Because the shift is happening and you're not making the shift, you may suffer that for 2 to 3 weeks or more, depending on who you are. So yogis always make little adjustment, little tuning. If you're doing practices, it will adjust by itself. So, Adi Yogi, I must say something about him. He came from somewhere, he did not introduce himself, so nobody knew his name, who he is, where he comes from. But he just came and sat, unmoving, still. People were wondering whether he's alive or dead. But once in a way, tears of ecstasy were flowing down his cheeks. That was the only sign of aliveness. Even breath didn't seem to be happening. So initially crowd gathered that he's going to do some magic. He did nothing, people all left. Only 7 people hung on, who were hardcore people, who realized something is happening here. What is happening? He sat there for months without need for food, water or any toilet requirements or anything. Simply he sat. They realized he seems to have touched a dimension which is beyond his physicality. So they waited. Once in a way he got up and wildly danced, and again he sat down. So after long period of time, when this one solstice came, or that solstice happened to be a full moon night, so on the solstice day he turned south. He was sitting facing some other direction, he turned south and sat down. Because of that, for that position or that posture, Adiyogis refer to as Dakshinamurti, that means one who turned south. Because the sun turned south, he turned south. At that time he opened his eyes and looked around, then these 7 people begged. And on that day, the first guru was born. He decided to transmit yoga to these first 7 people. So that is how yoga started. It's fantastic that the UN International Day of Yoga recognized this and made 21st of June, the solstice day, as the International Yoga Day. That's remarkable.
Beautiful, thank you. Thank you for this wisdom, Sadhguru.
We are, as per the prescription, we are supposed to meditate. Hello? So, if it takes 12–15 minutes, is it possible that nobody moves? Those… if you want to leave for some reason, you must leave now. Please don't leave in the next few minutes, okay? Can you do that? Ma'am, yourself in the… yes. You okay, is it appropriate to meditate here or we'll just answer questions?
Let's dance.
You have questions? We'll do one thing, as your commitment to International Day of Yoga, there is a simple process called Isha Kriya. It's downloadable, in a guided way you can do it for a few days, after that you can do it by yourself. It's an extremely simple but a powerful process. Millions of people across the world are practicing it right now, just with this app. It's a simple way to start. Instead of using that time here, it's called Isha Kriya, I-S-H-A, Isha Kriya. Okay, you know how Kriya is spelled. You just type it out, it'll come. You just… today, before 21st June is over, please spend 12 minutes. Initially, to understand what it is, you may take about 30 minutes of video. After that, it just takes 12 minutes. Every day you'd only practice about 12 minutes. This is more than enough to transform your life. To live peacefully, joyfully, this is good enough. You want to be something more, then more things have to be done, of course. So we will leave it at that, and if you have any questions, please. No, meditation you always do within, not with me. We will do a simple 5–6 minute meditation and we'll take questions after that, okay? But before before midnight today, you must promise me that you will do Isha Kriya because International Day of Yoga is not a day of celebrating it. It is a day of commitment. Because you remaining physically, mentally in the best possible way is the best contribution you can make to the world. You're sick, you're unwell, you're imbalanced. Does the world need it? Does your family need it? People around you need it? Hello? The greatest contribution you can make to everybody around you is, you are in a wonderful place within yourself. So as a commitment, before today ends, if you promised you will do Isha Kriya, we will do a simple process right now and move on with the questions, okay? Please sit with your hands open, phones down, eyes closed. This is a new instruction, you know. Phones down, please. I know it's an iPhone, but still it's not a part of your body. Please keep your hands open. If you're wearing spectacles, please keep it aside or keep it in your pocket or whatever. Sit with a slightly upturned face like this. If you do this with your eyes closed, you will notice there is a natural attention towards that point between your eyebrows, a mild attention. Keep it that way, do not concentrate. Slightly upturned face, you will notice that there is a mild attention between your eyebrows. Keep that attention, do not try to concentrate hard, just keeping that attention. Just pay attention or focus on the breath moving in and out at the very rim of your nostrils. Focus on the rim of your nostrils where breath is moving in and out. Do not think this is some air exchange process. This is your life breath. If it was going away, I'm sure you would give it absolute attention. We are grateful. Right now it's happening. Please focus at the very rim of your nostrils where the breath is passing in and out. This is what is the basis of your existence right now. Pay enough attention, but let the natural attention be between your eyebrows. Hold it that way. If you're not able to do this, just make your breath 5 to 10% deeper than normal, then you will be able to notice it. Make it slightly deeper, gently, very gently, slowly, don't do hard breathing. Yasya brahmani ramate chitta Yasya brahmani ramate chitta Nandati nandati nandate va Nandati nandati nandate Take your own time, slowly, very, very slowly, please open your eyes. I think… yes, please. Microphone, please. Microphone, please. Yeah.
Hi, good afternoon, Sadhguru, and good afternoon, everyone. First, thank you so much for being an inspiration to millions of people from all over the world. I'm actually from the Philippines, and I live in Dubai for 16 years. I wrote down 2 questions for you.
Oh.
Number 1, nowadays, we see a lot of AI-based fakes, photos, videos, voices, all generated by AI to sound or look like someone else. And detecting these fakes is a big challenge. I was just wondering, from a mystic's perspective, if you look at a photo or a video, would you be able to see something beyond just the surface and know if it was fake or real? And the second question is, well, it's actually more of a suggestion. When are you coming to the Philippines? Thank you.
It's a very good time that what some human beings thought is silly things they were doing, but they thought they're doing something fantastic. Today your phone can do it better than them. Hello? Because when you were in school, you know one silly idiot who could remember little more than you, acted like he's number 1. What does he do in front of your phone? He didn't have the GB that it has. Somebody read 10 books and they became professors and you had to listen to their drone. Somebody else read just 1 book and they became agents of God and you had to suffer them. All this is going to go because a machine can say all these things better than any human being. Hello? Because gathering memory, analyzing it and projecting it is a very mechanical process. That's why in the beginning when I referred to the intellect, I said, you're silly intellect, because here it's worshipped, that it's the highest thing. Intellect is an extremely important process for you to survive in this world. The sharper it is, the better it is. But once you hold a sharp instrument in your hands, you must have a very conscious hand. If you're little la 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 la, intestines will come out. That's what is happening right now. Human intellect is the only thing that's destroying this world, isn't it? Either you destroy somebody or yourself. Why is it that we don't give a sharp knife to a child's hand? Not because a knife is dangerous, because the child is unconscious and he may either harm himself or somebody else. No knife ever jumped and stabbed somebody by itself. It is the hand that holds it. If it is not held consciously, it becomes a dangerous process. Right now, that's what it is. So everybody is talking about the dangers of AI. Ah, yes, it is true. See, I remember this in the Mumbai docks or the port at that time I'm talking about, early 70s, 72 or something like that. First gantry was installed to unload the ships. At that time, people, human beings were going into the ship and bag by bag, box by box, they were unloading it. Something like 150,000 ton ship would take about 28 days to unload one ship. Today, with multiple gantries that are there, 25 ships are unloaded, which are all over 250,000 tons, unloaded within 24 hours. So at that time, those labor in Mumbai called Mazagon docks went into a strike. They said, this machine if you install, what are we supposed to do with this? Hello? With man's muscle, what are we supposed to do? This is what now the professors and intellectuals are asking, what am I supposed to do with my brain if the machine is going to do all this? You never explored the human possibility, you lived so mechanically, now you're being challenged by a machine. So, can I see whether something is fake or not in terms of AI? I don't look at life like that. See, I'm a very difficult thing to confess. I don't read anything. The most profound things that I read came from Europe. That was Asterix magazine, you know. You read Asterix? And some came from United States, which was Dennis the Menace. Otherwise, people give me all kinds of books, I somewhere open in the middle. If I read one page, 1 or 2 pages, I know the mind of the author. He cannot say. He can do as much intellectual circus as he wants, but what he can say, what he cannot say is very obvious once you understood the loops of his mind. So, even now it's the same thing. What does it matter whether a machine generated it or man generated it, who is mechanical like a machine? It's about the same for me. Right now you will see spiritual teachers will come in the form of AI. Because they read the scriptures, 5 scriptures, and they remember every word which no human being can do. Backwards, forwards, whichever way you want, they will tell you all the 4 Vedas and everything. Hello? So people who just read 1 or 2 books and they thought they gotten somewhere and made a life out of that, they're all feeling threatened, and it's a good thing. It's a very good thing, because you need to understand, this was not made to do just mechanical things. This came with a different possibility. You didn't explore because you're constantly busy racing with somebody. Your whole thing is to be better than somebody. If you can remember 1,000,000 words, I want to remember 2,000,000 words. If you have $1 billion, I want to have $2 billion. This is the whole nonsense you invested your life into. So you become just like a machine, maybe working a little faster or little better. That is not the value of being human. Human being can become conscious, can contain the whole cosmos within himself or herself. And this will explode in a different way. If all things that we can do with our muscle and with our intellect can be done by the machine, I think that's the ideal day on the planet. That'll be a fantastic day. About Philippines. So many islands, tell me where should I come?
Sadhguru, touch your feet for the, firstly. Thanks for blessing us. I'm a professor. And
Oh, I'm sorry.
I'm from Swansea University in UK, and we do some research on AI and some of the things you mentioned.
Oh, you're all here, is it? I'm so sorry. All of you guys are here from the conference.
No, but what I'm really inspired to see so many young people here. And from the university standpoint, we all look, I mean, it's terrific to see so many young minds. So my question to you, Sadhguruji, is we can look to do some amazing projects on the question you talked about, isolation, loneliness, virtual realities, may cause loneliness. So my question to you is, what project these youngsters at university can do scientifically, which obviously publish at the end of their dissertations, that can link up loneliness, artificial intelligence, that we use the technology for the well-being and not end up then saying, oh, we got it wrong 10, 20 years later. Thank you, Sadhguruji.
So, Professor, I'm sorry if I said something disparaging, I'm so sorry. I don't mean that. And if young people and yourself, who are a leader of those people, want to do something, let me put this out to you, see what you want to do. Because there are many ways to participate. These things are not going to happen because of any one person or one organization or a group of people. This needs the world's involvement, otherwise it will not happen. This is what we are referring to as conscious planet. So consciousness, as I said, it doesn't matter how much I talk about it, generally it flies over people's heads, they don't get it. Because in their mind, they're trying to… The only way they can understand something right now with the present form of education is, they're looking for a definition. What is that? If it can be defined, that's not consciousness. If something is defined, it's physical in nature. The nature of physicality is a clear definition, that is physicality. That which is beyond definitions, which are beyond the boundaries of all definitions, that is consciousness. So that's a negative definition in a way. So we say in yoga, we always identify, you're a professor, you identify with the knowledge that you represent. As a yogi, I identify with my ignorance. Why? See this cosmos, how big it is. Neither the men of science nor the religious people know where it begins, where it ends. Is that so, sir? Is that so? No religious person knows where the cosmos begins, where it ends. Bombastic stories are there, leave that. Nobody knows, nor do the men of science know where does it begin, where does it end. In this vast cosmos, it doesn't matter if you read all the books on the planet, still what you know is a minuscule. Am I correct? The planet itself is a minuscule. If you identify with your knowledge, you will become that minuscule. See, how do you become French? You identified with the nation, isn't it? What you identify with it, you become that. How does somebody become an Indian? Identify with that. Because the moment you identify with something, you become that and your mind works around that. You're willing to live and die for that. So the moment you identify with the minuscule of knowledge, you will become that minuscule and rule out all possibilities. But our ignorance is boundless. If you identify with your ignorance, you stay boundless. So, conscious planet, this is a movement which is already on in a certain way, but we will be launching a particular aspect of conscious planet which will relate to people's mental well-being in a certain way. We're looking at many possibilities. Essentially, it is towards exploring the miracle of your mind. We as a species are dominating this planet only because our cerebral cortex flowered. Otherwise, we would be operating just food, reproduction, sleep, that's about it. But we've become human, something fired within us, our ability to use our intelligence in different ways, our phenomenal sense of memory and our fantastic sense of imagination, all these things are our cerebral process. That is the process that most human beings are suffering right now. They're not suffering life. See, people suffer what happened 10 years ago, now. What happened 10 years ago is not alive. You're suffering your memory, isn't it? Hello? Hello? Those who are in the upper houses? You're suffering your memory. You can suffer what may happen day after tomorrow already. What does this mean? You're suffering your imagination. Your memory and your imagination are two fantastic faculties that we have, which sets us apart from every other creature. And it took millions of years of research and development, not in a university, but on this planet, to get you this level of cerebral capability, and now you suffer this. You can call it stress, you can call it anxiety, you can call it tension, you can call it depression, you can call it by 1,000 names if you want. Essentially, your intelligence has turned against you. You don't know how to hold this sharp knife, you keep poking yourself. Hello? So if we remove half your brain, everybody will be peaceful. Yes. So essentially, the only way people can be reasonably in control is take away their possibilities. See, why do you… if somebody is a dangerous criminal, why is it, unfortunately, if there were no people, there was no city, you could leave him somewhere where he can live happily by himself. But no, because he's dangerous for others, you lock him up. This is what you're doing, locking yourself up with your own identities, with your own stuff. And at least there somebody has a key, when they wish to they can open it, here you've thrown away the key. This is important, that conscious does not mean you become conscious about something. Consciousness is like light, it's on. What is it showing? It'll show what is there. Oh, I became conscious that she's here, that's not the point. I am conscious, that means whatever is here is in my purview. So when you say conscious, people say, I became conscious of God, I became conscious of this, conscious of that. This is not about that. It is just to light up. If you have to light up, you need to energize yourself. This is like the voltage is right now low, it shows just… let's say the voltage is very low, in my vision it just shows these 4 people. What do I think? In my experience, I think there are only 4 people in this hall. If it lights up a little more, then suddenly I see 20 people. If it lights up fully, then I see everybody. This is the nature of your experience. So for your consciousness to light up, you need a more intense and exuberant levels of energy. To create this, we are offering about 10 to 12 different kind of things. Everybody cannot meditate, everybody cannot do yoga. There are classical art forms, there are classical martial arts, there is music, there are variety of things. 12 to 15 minutes, that's all. We will put this on an app and it'll be ready sometime in 2024. We will make this available to the whole world. Please, you must take it up, professors and UNESCO and everybody. If you want me to give it to you and you will run the campaign yourself in the world, I will give it to you because the interest is people should benefit. If 2 to 3 billion people use this for a sustained period of time, you will find a much better mental situation in the world. We are also offering a prize. If you are below 18 years of age, if you do it for 90 days in a committed way, this will be trackable on your app, that you're doing it, it'll check the medical parameters. We have a research center in Harvard University, which is medical university, which is doing all this for us now, and it will check today, how many times in a day did you get angry? It records. How many times were you depressed? How long were you peaceful and happy? All these records. So if you do it for 90 days, if you're below 18 years of age, we'll give you a reward. If you're over 18 years of age, if you do it for 180 days, you will get a reward. If you're over 30 years of age, if you do it for 360 days, you will get a reward. What I'm saying is, if you keep yourself well, we will reward you because the quality of this damn world depends upon you.
Thank you all for your thoughtful questions. Last but not the least, I invite Sadhguru to give us his closing remarks.
Oh. The thing is, this is just the beginning, so I won't make any closing remarks. Thank you.